Today I'll be sharing the secret to killing fear, the secret to converting anxiety into excitement in 3 easy steps that really work. I'm living proof. If I can, so can you. Today I'll be sharing with you the 3 essential steps that you need to know to convert anxiety into excitement. I'll offer them to you in a learnable way that anyone can use and implement, because we've all wasted enough time allowing others to sabotage us as well as sabotaging ourselves, right? Because of fears of being criticised, humiliated, cancelled, losing our money, job, losing our reputation, losing approval, or whatever else. So let's take this together. Let's tackle it right now, because deep down inside, you know you were born for a reason. And even if you're doing really well, even if you're doing part way well, or even if your life is a complete mess, you know that you were meant for more than what you're currently doing. So don't allow the setbacks and ego hits of your past to hinder the bright future that you know you truly deserve. And not everything can hold the same level of priority at once. You have to take charge of your career and your personal life. It's time for all of this to change. It's time to stop watching other people with less skills, less experience, and less personality pass you by. It's time for you to bridge the gap between what you've got and what you want. You know, where you are and where you want to be. How you're doing things, and the better, easier, faster, more fun, more prosperous, and more fulfilling ways of doing what works. And not just what works, but doing what works now, because it changes, right? What worked before and what works now has changed, and it will continue to change. That's the way of the world. And it's up to you to keep up with the changes that are relevant to you, and I'm here to help. It's up to you to stay relevant in the areas that support your health, wealth, relationship, and spiritual connection, because these are the 4 pillars of your life. And if you allow any of these 4 pillars to weaken, you risk your whole life falling down, if you haven't had that experience already, right? But you don't have to do it all by yourself. I'll walk beside you with things that I know work now, and share the knowledge, skills, and wisdom that I've gained from 40 years in private practice and workshops, helping people just like you to overcome their health issues, their career hiccups, their relationship challenges, and fine-tune their spiritual practices and rituals to get more of what they want and less of what they don't want, with less time, energy, money, confusion, overwhelm, or anxiety. So how often have you pursued a plan, a dream, a goal, an aspiration only to face failure? Has applying for a bank loan ever been more challenging than you prefer? How many times did you pursue a project, a relationship, or a diet, an exercise regime, and give it your best shot, only to feel disappointment in the face-to-face? You know, how often have you been rejected, overlooked, or declined? You know, did your life plan fail spectacularly, or just a little bit, or somewhere in the middle, turning your grand scheme into a grand embarrassment? Yeah, me too. If you're anything like the rest of us, such experiences may have left you feeling inadequate or like a failure, or even ashamed of wanting to hide what you've created from the eyes of others. And perhaps the ego hits caused you to question your abilities, even consider giving up, or flipped you into anxiety, depression, or even wanting to end it all. It's more common than you might think. In over 40 years of working with people who've shared and overcome some of the deepest and darkest challenging experiences, I know just how common it is to plummet into darkness and struggle to get back up out again. It's common for disappointing experiences of failure to cause you to question your abilities, leading you to create a narrative that eventually became a belief that you lack the necessary skills perhaps to achieve your dreams. And that's a horror story. And today, you and I are going to close that book together once and for all. So here's the thing, that story won't survive our laser scrutiny. Today, we're going to delve into the primary reason why many of us don't achieve our dreams, and we're going to do something about it once and for all. I'll guide you on how to promptly reverse that trend. In fact, I'll provide a straightforward 3-step method that you can begin implementing today, right away, to erase past failures, to reignite your motivation, and to set yourself on the right path once again. This will enable you to consistently achieve what truly matters to you, beyond what you've ever deemed possible so far. You don't need to be a business owner, a professional, particularly educated, or an entrepreneur to get the advantage here. Whether you're a creative, a student, a single parent, musician, an artist, an employee, a healer, an athlete, or a veteran, if you want to make it and be successful and fulfilled in today's world, not just surrounded by a bunch of toys and still feel like something is missing, you must take charge of your career, your money, and your personal life. Like it or not, nobody's going to do it for us. The government isn't, your employer won't, your associates aren't, your life partner won't. It's up to you. And the great thing about that is, who better than you? You're the one who's in charge of your dreams. You're in charge of your desires, your wants, your needs, and your responsibilities. You're the one with the matching skills to do the job. And you're also the one with the flaws and the gaping holes that need to be overcome, right? Everything you want is on the other side of mastering your flaws. Everything you want is on the other side of overcoming your fears and your anxieties. If you're a new listener, thanks for tuning in. I'm so grateful you're here. Did you know there's heart-centered people here, just like you and I, who are realising their experiences, skills, hobbies and passions are their inventory, and their knowledge is the foundation of their service. Their knowledge is foundation to living their highest potential and using their gifts to make a positive difference in the world, which makes them keen to learn even more. So here we are. You're in the right place. You're here today. I'm living proof that you can overcome anxiety, that you can overcome fear and turn it into excitement and have it work for you instead of against you, instead of paralysing you into not being able to perform or not go after the things that you want. Back in the early 80s, when I first started doing workshops, I was paralysed by fear. I was paralysed to speak my truth, to share my experiences with the students that had already paid me money to come and sign up for workshops. There was many occasions when I was so nervous, so much stage fright, that I actually cancelled the workshop and refunded their money. And this is from a person I had the privilege of education. I'm the youngest of 7 children. All of us girls except for 6 boys. And my father declared when I was born that they weren't going to have a spoiled little miss on their hands and that we would all be raised the same. So I had the good fortune to be raised as a boy, to be raised with the expectations of success and proficiency. And it really worked for me. By the time I was 10, I was 3rd in the state for gymnastics. I was always in the top 3 at school. I was dux of the school. I went to chiropractic college and won the Radiology Excellence Award from Dr. Terry Yoakum, who co-wrote with Lindsay Rowe the radiology text that even today, all of the chiropractors, all of the the medical profession, all of the radiologists still use throughout the world, I was not short of confidence, but I was still terrified to speak. I was still terrified to speak my own truth rather than just regurgitate things that I'd learnt from textbooks. And so what happened? Why is that? And why is that for you? Where are the events in your life? What happened in your life that stops you now from achieving what you really want to achieve, from having the life that you really want to have, from having the health, the wealth, the relationships, the lifestyle that you know that you were born for? What is that? And I don't want you to sink into the emotions of it all. Just, we just want to identify the story so that we can do something about it. And that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to give you the 3 steps of what to do about it so that you can just move on and get your confidence so that maybe you can do whatever it is to share your gifts with the world. Because you have gifts and experiences and knowledge and wisdom that nobody else in the world has. And if you don't share that wisdom, then other people are doomed to making the same mistakes that you perhaps did. Whereas if you can share your wisdom, your knowledge, your experiences, then it can shortcut that learning for other people so they don't have to go through the same pain and perhaps misery that you had to and that I've had to. Not just my family was all male, my whole neighbourhood was all male. So when I would go and play with the neighbourhood kids, they were male as well. And one particular day, I was 3 years old, and it was back in the times when 3-year-olds could walk next door with and not be abducted or whatever. It was normal. We raised ourselves, didn't we? And the boy next door declared that he wanted to play Matchbox toys. And I knew that meant I was expected to watch him play Matchbox toys because I didn't have any Matchbox toys. I was raised as a boy, but I didn't have boys' toys because I was a girl. And I knew from experience this meant I was just supposed to watch. So I said no. He picked up a hammer, swung it with all his might, and fractured my skull. You can still see the dent in my forehead today where it compressed, fractured my skull. And so for 3 days, I was in bed, unconscious, and my mother had no real awareness of why I was there. None of my brothers or nobody explained to her what had happened. No one spoke up for me. Is this a story in your life too? It wasn't until 3 days later, the mother of the boy next door came in to check on me to see how I was and explained to Mum, what had actually happened. So can you see why there might have been a bit of nervousness set up in me to speak my truth in the future? Can you see why my fear of speaking in public, my stage fright, how it started? It's like subconsciously, the body remembers. Subconsciously, every time I would go to speak about something, especially something that wasn't mainstream, especially something that was new, that the fear would come up. Can you relate? Are there areas in your life where when you go to do something that perhaps other people find really easy that are kind of difficult for you? Let's do something about this. What we're going to do now is we're going to identify the 3 steps that you need to do that work, that will turn your old fears, that will turn your old anxieties into potential excitement so that it works for you, so that it fuels the things that you want to do rather than limits and explodes them. That be useful? Number one, you need to decide that that's what you're going to do. You need to decide that you have had enough of the anxiety and to decide what you're going to do instead. And write it down. You know, throughout the ages, throughout the centuries, it's a well-known fact that if you write something down, it is more likely to happen than if you just think about it. You know, our minds are so busy. It doesn't know which bits to listen to that are really important. But when you write it down, it makes you get clear on what it is that you want for a start too. So decide. You know, what do you want? What is it? With respect to you. So with respect to me and my story, I decided that I was going to speak. I was going to be able to voice my opinion, to express my knowledge and wisdom and unique experiences with others who didn't want to have to be stuck in the same fears that I was stuck in or repeat the same mistakes that I had made, that wanted to get from A to Z a lot faster and a lot easier with less pain and misery. It's kind of useful, isn't it? So when we make a decision, that engages our brain. When we make a decision, when we have clear thoughts, when we write down what it is that we choose to do, it sends out the electrical impulses out into the universe, out into the quantum field. So that signal then connects with all of the people, all of the experiences that are aligned with your decision. It connects you up, just like a TV signal of a particular frequency connects with the television sets that are tuned into the channel that are able to select that frequency. Do you follow me? Step one, decide. Get clear what it is that you want instead of what you've got, okay? And write it as if you've already got it. Step two is you need to have the feeling that you've already got it. So you might need to manufacture that feeling. You might need to create it within yourself. And I find the fastest way for me and for most people is to simply recall a time where they had the matching feeling. So for me, for instance, I would recall a time of excitement. So a time of, for instance, the first time I walked across the Sydney Harbour Bridge, the first time I walked across the Golden Gate Bridge, the first time I went to the Eiffel Tower, the first time I went to the Smithsonian Institutes in Washington, DC. So I would recall something that was exciting for me and magnify that feeling in my body. Do you follow me? So what was an exciting event in your life that you can use as a body memory to enhance what we're doing here so that you can turn your anxieties from the past into that excitement of something that you have already experienced, something that your body subconsciously already does remember. When is that? So the feeling is the language of the heart. So thoughts are the language of the mind, of the brain, and thoughts send out the electrical impulses to the universe. Feelings are the language of the heart, and they magnetize to us the people, the situations, the experiences that match those feelings. So when you have a feeling of fear and anxiety, you magnetize to you people and experiences that will trigger that anxiety and those fears in you. When you have the feelings of excitement, then you magnetize to you the people, the experiences that match the excitement. So can you see how important this is? Can you see that with just a little bit of tweaking, you can change every aspect of your life? And you're more than capable of it. And I know that you're more than capable of it, because if I can, you can. Okay? I'm not paralysed with fear here right now to speak with you. If I can, you can. Step number 1, we need to decide. We need to have the clear thought, the clear decision of what we're doing instead of what we've done in the past. Step 2, we are embodying the feeling as if we've already got it, so that we can magnetize the positive situations that we really want to us. And step 3 is we need to breathe. Because if we're not breathing, if we hold our breath, there's no flow. You can have the clear thoughts, you can have the feelings, but without the breath, without the breathing, it's a block. You know, it's kind of like everything you want is just outside the door. You need to open the door and, you know, let the delivery come in. And the opening of that door and allowing the delivery to come in is your own breath. Monitor yourself, monitor your body. If you catch yourself holding your breath, it's like, make yourself breathe. You know, widen your field of vision. Expand it out to be a global focus rather than a narrow focus, and simply breathe. And one of the keys here is it's actually hard to feel the feelings of pleasure. It's hard to feel the feelings of excitement if you're holding your breath anyway. It's kind of like the more you breathe, and often the slower and deeper you breathe, the easier it is to access the feelings that you want, and the easier it is to maintain them. So we want the clear thought, the decision, the clear signal going out to the universe. We want the positive feeling, the feeling of excitement, so that you can magnetize the pleasurable, the positive people, situations to you. And you want to breathe so that it allows what it is that you've decided you want to come to you. What if you decide to change your anxiety into excitement? Because within your body, biochemically, physiologically, it's exactly the same. When you are fearful, when you're anxious, there's a surge of adrenaline in through your body. And when you're excited, there's a surge of adrenaline in your body. The difference is how our brain interprets it. So our brain can interpret that surge of adrenaline either as fear or excitement, either as anxiety or excitement. So what if you decide to think differently about it? What if you decide to interpret from now on that the things that in the past have made you anxious, the things that in the past have made you worried, that you're going to transform it, that you're going to convert it into something that you want instead? Into excitement, into confidence, into prosperity, into health, into wealth, into clear communication, into spiritual connection. What if you decide to have, be and do the things that you know that you deserve, that you know that you're capable of? Not just for the comfort and the wonderful lifestyle for yourself, but also for contributing to your community, for also sharing with others the things that you've already learnt and already know how to do. And here's the thing, what if you don't? What if you continue to allow your limitations, your sabotages, your blocks, your fears, your anxieties, your worries, your concerns of the past to continue to stop you from the lifestyle that you'd like to have? In 5 years, do you still want to be where you are now? In 5 months, do you still want to be where you are now? Or is there a lifestyle that you prefer instead? Is there a health that you prefer instead? Is there a level of wealth that you prefer instead? Is there a fulfillment in relationships that you prefer instead? Is there a sense of spiritual connection and sense of belonging that you prefer instead? Decide, feel, breathe. You've got this.